What's going on, guys? Hit pause here to bring you a video just kind of admiring the awesome power of the Unreal Engine 4. And by that, what I mean is how quickly you can create something cool as shit. I made this in 20 minutes. Now, not the model, okay? Not the model. The model I had from a long time ago, painted it, I got a video about it, it took 12 hours. I mean, it was a long, drawn-out process to make the model. But what I did with it last night was I took a couple of the pieces off of it, things like this, and just kind of created this silly looking mount system here that doesn't really make any sense, and it's mounted to a push pin. And this is the part that I did in 20 minutes or under. In fact, I mean, I don't even know if it was that long. Kind of worked right out the box. Now, it's not perfect, it's not finished or anything like that, but it exists. And I can walk up to it and get in, and now it doesn't have any recoil yet, it doesn't have any overheat, it has a little bit of spread though. It's got sounds. It's got a limit. I can only go so far to the left, I can only go so far to the right, only so far up, and only so far down. Now, I don't have the character like really showing on it or anything like that yet. He's actually hidden. So this is kind of a one-player only thing just for now. But it wouldn't be that hard to hook them up to the actual object and make it so that they were IK'd to it, you know? But it works. So what did I even do? Well, this is basically the whole thing right here. It took very short amount of time. The very first thing that I did was actually create the controls for it. If you look at the components, they're quite simple. Now, this is a skeletal mesh. I want to point that out. If I open this guy up, this is a skeletal mesh, and there's nothing really to it, nothing weird about it. If I look at the skeleton here, you can see that I've got a yaw. Okay, the yaw is actually kind of hard to, the yaw is just this piece right here, just the one that's attached right there. So the main base doesn't turn, it turns from right here, and then the pitch is basically hooked up to right here. So if I look at the pitch, you can see it's right there. So if I turn the pitch bone here, you can see that it pitches up and down. If I turn the yaw bone here, you can see that it turns left and right. And that's all I did there. That's all I did for that. And it does have an animation blueprint. So I put it in weapons under the mounted M60. Let's go ahead and clear this. I have the mounted M60 anim blueprint. So what this does is a bit of trickery in essence. As you get better at this stuff, it's a little bit easier. But I'm just reading the input values straight from the axis on the I always forget where I'm at on the thing. So from the input axis of lookup and turn, I basically invert the look axis. Okay, I add that to my current value. I clamp it within how far I want to be able to look this thing. I mean, obviously I can make these variables that would be exposed, so each instance of the gun can have its own range. That's easy. I am doing setting a lookup axis value variable. I'm doing the same thing here, basically minus the times -1, and more turning ability in the turn than in the up and down. Right? Print string. You know, I was just testing stuff here. It just says hello. Oh, hello. I don't even need begin play. So that runs the variables, and then on the actual animation blueprint, I read those variables, just basically read them, and I just set yaw and pitch. Go to the anim graph here. I don't even have a state machine. I just did this. I just went straight to transform modify bone. This is the yaw bone. It's additive in component space. I receive yaw. What I do here is I actually make a rotation. I break the rotation because this is additive. So the reason that I have to do this, I have to make it, then break it, then clamp it, then remake it, is because of the fact that it is additive. If I don't do it this way, if I just go straight to here and I rely on the clamping from the other class, it actually constantly like wants to spring back to where it originally was. So the additive factor doesn't work correctly. It is in fact just trying to set it to that value, and as soon as I stop, you know, moving my inputs, that value is 0 and the gun goes back to 0. So I do the same exact thing with the pitch and the same exact thing with the yaw, except here I'm modifying the pitch bone and everything else is exactly the same. We pipe it into the final animation pose. If I turn yaw here, you can see it only goes so far, and if I do the same thing with pitch, it only goes so far, and that's it. That's all it is. Now it's got a little bit of tilt in it. I could have made it so that it was pitching in its own local axis, but I kind of like this right here. I know it's not exactly correct, but it doesn't hurt anything. So yeah, we received that, and then that's it. I mean, that's everything. For the most part, obviously we need to take possession, right? So we cast to our character, we set the character. This happens before the object actually gets possessed, because once it's possessed, my character will no longer actually cast correctly, I don't believe. So I check if the player is visible. If he's not, then I hide the player model. Hiding the player model is very simple. Just hide it, turn off its collision, go ahead and attach it to the current actor that we're at, and make sure that the 3-player model does not cast shadows anymore, otherwise it will continue to do that. When I say eject. Okay, on eject I basically unhide the character actor, I turn its collision back on, I detach it from the actor, I return the shadows back to play, and I possess it. Okay, and when I spawn the projectile, I basically just get the socket position, the muzzle flash socket, which it has a muzzle flash socket. You can see right here, it's just right there on the end. X is facing forward. Okay, so that's the way it's going. I'm spawning a projectile, which do in fact motorize themselves. Motorize not being the right word, but they propel themselves through the air. So I spawn the actor, which is a 7652 bullet, and the only thing that's weird about that is that it sets the damage to be higher, 30. It's a little bit faster than other bullets too. If I go to the viewport here and I look at the projectile here, it's kicking up to 17652 because it's a 7652. So that's my remedial math there. I figured I just wanted it to be different. We spawn the emitter for the muzzle flash at the same point, and we spawn a sound at the same point. Okay, and then what I do to get the deviation is I take this and I break the rotation. I add a plus or minus 1 degree to the yaw and the pitch, and return that back to a transform, and that's where I spawn the actor. So that's deviation. There's, like I said, there's no recoil on it right now. When I fire the button, I just say, hey, projectile. I say, hey, you know, turn the timer on when you hold it. Clear the timer when you don't. The reason I spawn the projectile when you press the button is because if you don't do this and you go straight to the timer, tapping the button will not fire unless you hold it down for 0.15 seconds, which is kind of frustrating. So you always want the first one to fire a bullet, and then, you know, right when you press. And then we just turn firing off and we clear the timer. Pretty much I don't even need this, but it would be nice to know if I'm firing or not. And that's it. Like I said, when I hit E, I'll eject right off of the thing. It, like, you know, it just has a camera. It's a pawn class. Okay, that's important. It's a pawn class. It needs to be able to receive inputs. Your controller is what takes over it, so there's no need to worry about having like a, you know, mounted gun controller or anything like that. But I can jump on it, boom, take a couple shots, hit E, come back off of it, go back on it, boom, take a couple shots. Like I said, now it's just a matter of details. You know, do I want to give it recoil? Do I want to give it? Do I want to have it shake? Do I want to cause particle effects around here? Do I want to give it limited ammo? Do I want to make it overheat? I mean, how do I want to play with it, you know? But other than that, it's done. I mean, and there ain't nothing stopping me from just being like, hey, you know, here's one for you too, buddy, and here's one for you, and here's one for you, you know, a bunch of them right here. So when they run out or something, you know, if they have ammo, I mean, like I said, it just depends on if they have ammo or not. But it's so quick and easy to do this. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait a minute, that's it? That's all I need to do? Holy shays, I'm done. So, like I said, you can get on any one of them. Basically, I'll reappear right wherever I was. So I think if I'm looking up and I do it, and I come back, no, I'm looking straight again, but that's okay. I do know that I think if I've turned sideways and I hit it, and I come back, yeah, I'm sideways. And I can put out some spiders. Lights. I haven't put lights on my bullets yet. I may or may ask them to do that. But yeah, it's fun. It's good shit. I mean, if you think about it, how quickly and easily that can be done is ridiculous. I mean, if you look at the code, it's like there's like nothing here, you know? Just a couple of checks. This does tell the player on overlap. I tell the player that I'm the usable object, that my gun is a usable object, and then I unhide the text to say, hey, use. And then when I overlap here, I say, hey, you know, go right here. I should actually, on possession, do one more check, one more cleanup thing, and that would be to take the, not the box, take the text render and set that back to hidden. You bastard. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Okay. So that's it. Even though the camera's actually pushed in front of it, but somebody else that was looking at it, like my game's not multiplayer ready at all, like even in the remotest. I'm not trying to do it multiplayer ready right now. I'm trying to get a quick prototype done, and the idea is that what I'm going to do is when I go into this map, there's going to be a part in my little mission that I got going on here where you got to mount a machine gun and just unload on hundreds of spiders. You'll also notice that in 4.7 I now have hair on the carpet. Kind of renders a little funny in my flashlight, but I'll figure that out. So the idea is it's going to be right here. Even though I don't necessarily expect that you would be able to stab a push pin into what looks like concrete, but there's nothing saying that this isn't foam, you know? I could make it foam. And I just come here and I say, hey, the mounted M60. The camera is kind of obtrusive, you know? I kind of wish that there was a way for me to say, hey, you know, just don't see that. And like I said, it's the angle of it's based on where the where it's originally facing. So the spiders are going to be coming from here, and you're just going to need to mow them down as they show up, as they come through. It would be kind of cool if I did a sandbag system like right here as they come across, or from up here or something, just mowing them down, give you a kind of a fun little bonus game, you know, where you got to take out, you stay on the gun until you kill 30 of them or something, you know. But that's the idea, and the EDUs should be, I really need to get my, I kind of wish that these had just an automatic hay-face camera, you know, the EDU stuff, the text renders. I know it's easy to set up, but it would be, the only reason I haven't gone down that route is because it's like, fuck, you know, like I gotta do that to every time I use it. I don't want to do that. And they might have that actually now. Now that I think about it, text render. Always face camera. Always face camera. Where is that? Is that on here? Before one would go through and I think I did that. Yeah, it would be nice if it just had an automatic checkbox here, just something for us to be able to, you know, which lock any axis or something so it only spins in the yaw to follow the player. So if, you know, if anybody wants to know how to make this little text render better, it would be nice if it always faced you, you know, without having to set that up on each and every one of them. It's just, I think, common enough of a thing for everybody to be fine, you know, and you just check it off if you don't want it, so it'd be done. But yeah, that's it. There's a mounted machine gun. It's like, holy shit. I mean, like, it took me like I said, it was like 20 minutes, if that. I mean, I almost want to say it was like 10 minutes. I burned through this thing. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, I'm done. Now, I did copy and paste a few of these things here. Like, I didn't have to think about this logic. I just had to copy and paste some of it, but I was the one who originally thought of the logic anyway. I had just done it on the vehicle, so it's the same thing on take possession and eject. I'm just doing the same thing. It's kind of a standard way of possessing stuff, you know, whether or not you hide the driver when you take possession, you know, I just hide the player model. The vehicle has to run a power up function so that when you get in it, it still has to start up. The machine gun doesn't really need anything like that. And like I said, I mean, the only thing left to do right now would be the recoil, which I can swipe straight from my player character as well, because I in fact actually have recoil here. And by recoil, I don't mean the awesome game on Steam. I mean like weapon recoil, where the gun bounces up when you shoot it. Yes, I said awesome. And yes. Then your next question, the answer is yes. If you know what I'm talking about, the answer is yes. Because your next question should be starting with A, Y, F, K. And the answer is yes, I am. Where is the hell is my... Okay, I think it's on spawn projectile. I run do recoil here. And I just do that. Add controller pitch input. And I run it off of a timeline. So I could copy this and just get recoil on the mounted machine gun. You know, done. So that's nice. It's very nice. In fact, I like it. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys found that cool as shiz. I would play it like this, but it's not going to put me anywhere near it, and I'm going to have to run kind of a long ways to get to it, I think. Depends on where my checkpoint is. I do have that save data happening. Plus, I'm not actually spawning any spiders. I spawned 5 of them right here, but I gotta wait for Dickweed to get his ass through the hole. Okay, so he'll have to run all the way over here. But you see how the hair kind of renders a little weird? This direction I don't see it at all. This direction I can actually see it. If I put my flashlight right on it, I see nothing. But if I lift it up, I see it within this range right around here. It's like just in the ambient. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I feel a little weird about it. I mean, I like the coverage. There's freaking hundreds of thousands of them. I don't have all of it done. Like I have. I only went as far as doing the boys' room. There's no hair out here, but I kind of don't know. Like, it was just an experiment. I had to set the density up like to the max, which is like 60,000. So I wasted that basketball. I can only shoot so far in. It's just shooting one of my projectiles, so all of the effects and bullet holes and everything will all work out pretty normally. So yeah, this is gonna be pretty cool, I think. I need to make sure that my player's flashlight gets turned on. Oh, and look, and I can see with the player. Yeah, I gotta make sure the player turns his flashlight off. You see the gun right there in the shadow? While I think that's cool, it's just a clear indication that I'm fucking sitting here using a ghost gun, you know? So yeah, minor things to do, but other than that, man, it worked out good. So thanks for watching, and hopefully you guys, if you're not convinced to use Unreal Engine 4, that helps to convince you, because I wouldn't have been able to do it that fast in UDK. That is for goddamn sure. I'm sure there are people out there that could, but not me. So thanks for watching.